Yo, what is up guys, it's me Eve again here playing Tokyo Ghoul Break the Chains. In today's video we're going to talk about the CCG, probably second best team in the Tokyo Ghoul right now. The Anteku is obviously the number one, and CCG and Aogi are usually fighting together in terms of who is better after Anteku, and for the most part I think CCG usually wins on a much higher investment. They're, to be honest, better than the Aogiri right now. At least it feels like that. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the CCG in general and how you want to build the meta CCG. So meta CCG currently consists of almost full team of Arimas. So all of the Arimas are currently meta. The Psy Arima is incredible because he can do damage within AoE, as well as he can also provide a lot of shields, and because of that he's meta for now. Amon is currently meta because he's an incredibly big single target damage dealer, as well as he can do a cheap damage once the battle starts. He can do an attack that can easily proc this green Arima, who is a half anniversary Arima. He's passive because he needs you to attack 3 times before him, so he can proc his passive to do the AoE damage with his passive. And because of that, the Psy Amon is incredibly good synergy with this half anniversary Amon. The red Amon, red Arima is obviously another huge winner in the CCG because he just got another basically a god cell. He already has he already had one god cell. That was really insane. One of the best god cells probably in the game currently. That has a instantly 5 stack on him for his passive, and he got another one. I mean, it's not as crazy as this one, but it's still a pretty huge buff for him for sure. So in that sense, he is a huge winner in this whole thing. Another unit in the CCG is gonna be the Mado. This is the backup Mado. There's 2 versions of Mado. There is a red Mado and blue Mado. This is the blue Mado. This is a backup unit that has the ability for a backup for CCG, and he's an extremely important unit for the CCG because of his just passive that he brings into the backup of the CCG, giving them a lot of shields, providing them with crits, all of that, and because of that he's very important as well. So this is how basically it looks in terms of the characters that you want to have in the full-on meta CCG currently. There's other options or other alternatives in those teams. Could be Chief, who is a new unit for the CCG. He's a support unit. He's actually pretty good. I think he's overall really well built. Obviously he's not as OP, for example, like Sand. He doesn't bring up any like skill levels increased, but he still brings up a big damage increase for the CCG, and in that sense you could still play him for more of a free-to-play version of the CCG if you don't have much of investments in terms of these 2 monsters who are carnival characters. The other also option is Shinohara, who is a full debuffer. In the meta currently, Shinohara is getting replaced by other like full-on DPS CCG right now, but Shinohara overall is also a really good unit. He has a shit ton of debuffs, like an actually insane amount of that, as well as he's got exhaust that he can apply on the second turn, and all of that works really well versus a lot of other teams like Aogiri, for example. It definitely works really well so he's also a great option for those like a free-to-play, more friendly versions whenever you don't want to go for too much investments into too many of those carnival units. In that sense, relatively, CCG is not very cheap because again, 2 carnival units already is a very big amount of investments, and at least getting both of them to D for a free-to-play would be a little bit of a time consuming. You will definitely need to consume a lot of time because you will need to wait until you get, for example, from the startups, from the login bonuses, from the arena, and then so like little by little you'll get 1 star. Obviously the thing is with the characters, is that they require 2-star ups to level them up for 1-star, and then also they require 2 refinements to get them to the lettering. For example, compared to the normal banners, the characters that only require 1 for each. Compared to carnival characters, they require 2 and everything. So be sure to know that one before like going to summon on them, because again, for free-to-play, having leveling up carnival characters is very, very hard, especially when you have both of them in here. So your best option probably might be switching one of them, for example, something like Amon, because he's getting skipped. You can switch him up with the for example, the Shinohara here, or with the Chief as well. Those options exist for sure, but then you're losing a little bit of the passive ability on this green armor, and then you might be having a problem if you are not starting first on the CCG, because again, with Amon, he gets basically a free passive on the first turn. And without that, you need to definitely survive till the next turn, so that you can go and attack with him next turn when he's got the full passives, okay? So that's how it's gonna look like. In terms of the ultimates, obviously the co-op one works the best, because it's works with the CCG higher rank investigators. All of them are higher rank, and because that, it works the best. In terms of the RC cells and the potentials, the only character that has any like god cells is the green, the red Arima. Also, there is some new god cells that they just brought up into the cell creation. So if you go, for the most part on TGA, you don't have those. On the Tokyo Ghoul Basic Exchange, you will be able to get those ones in here. So this is the god cells for the Mado, as you can see. He's got some god cells in here that you might be able to get, and those ones are obviously good, buffing up a little bit of his stuff. Again, they're not, it seems like they're not like extremely OP, but they're definitely good for sure. So in terms of the god cells, you don't really need to have the god cells on the full CCG. You're good to go with just whatever you have on them. So, for example, if you go in here, obviously all of the like half anniversary Arima, all of the Arima is gonna have the most simple version of the RC cells that you can get is full on defense. On the defense ones, on the HP ones, you will have a full HP, and on the attack, you'll have a full attack on there, or at least try to get 3 attack and 1 something else. There's gonna be like a crit or something like that. Try to get those. I think in auction is for the most part is going to be 3 of them together, and the last one is going to be something different. Don't go for the like only 2, for example, HP here, and then there's like going to be like restoration, like or block chance, whatever. Only go for the ones that have at least 3 stats on them. The modifiers, in terms of modifiers, obviously there is the best modifiers for their C cells are disrupt and the buff removal. So buff removal you want to put on someone who can do AoE damage. So you can put both ways on the Arima, because he can also do some passive damage with the AoE damage with his passive, and because of that, buff removal works on him. You can put the buff removal on the Psy Arima, because again that works on him for sure. Disrupt mostly will be used on your Amon and on your red Arima as well. So those units will have the disrupt on them, and as well as the backup Mado for sure. So in terms of potential, obviously the CCG really likes Eliminate. That's one of the best ones for them, because they have a lot of shields. And because of a lot of shields, that basically it's very hard to make them weak because of the shields. Eliminate basically removes all of the weak points if you have the full one on them. Smash again works also really well, because in the current meta there's a lot of like characters that are all on triple S already, so they get free shields most of the time as well, versus Anteku that also gets shields. This is gonna be your time to shine basically with the Smash, having to deal additional damage. Obviously all of the CCG units will need a full red potentials, because that's just how it works. The the red ones are giving you the buff for the attack stats, and because of that, all of the CCG units are, for the most part, are the damage dealers, and because of that, you put everything, like all of the red ones on them. So Psyamon, Psyarima, Red Arima, all of those units wanna have a full on. You will be needing to have a full on red on them. So all of these units, all 4 of them, are gonna be red. For the Meadow, you can use the defense. Obviously, the yellow type of potentials on him work better. Don't look at this. So yellow ones that buff defense will be much better for him compared to damage, because he doesn't do much damage by himself. He's only there for the backup. So go with the yellow one on him. If you're gonna be thinking about who you should use on Chief and on the where's my boy Shinohara? On Shinohara, Chief is gonna be the full support type of potentials. Like I said, for example, for the Hina, is full defense, so only yellow ones, and you also wanna have a full on undermine on him. So you wanna put the undermine on him here as well. So undermine looks like this. So the foot here, it buffs again, all of the yellow ones buff your defense, and this one removes one the skill level of one random enemy will be reduced here, as you can see, when you die. So because of that, you put that on him for sure. Also, you could put possibly something on the undermine for like at least 2 points on the green Arima, because he's usually the main target, because he's the lowest one on terms of defense in the whole CCG. It's much easier to kill him compared to all of the other units, and because of that, usually people tend to target him first, and because of that, I definitely could recommend you trying to put some undermine on him. If you have, like, for example, a rainbow undermine compared to other potentials, then definitely not a bad idea to put it on him as well. But don't go too crazy, like don't put 4 undermines, and don't forget that you need a place for your smash as well as for your eliminate as well, so don't forget about those. Don't go putting that too much undermine in there as well. Another thing that could work, and the shade is also not the worst thing that could work on CCG if you're going for that, like trying to one-shot them on the first turn. Initiate is not the worst thing, as well as it keeps you a little bit survivability a little bit longer, because again, CCG does a lot of damage, but they're not one-shot machines as the same as, for example, Aogiri in that sense. CCG is mostly kind of like in the middle of the whole thing, so they do more damage than Anteiku, but they're not as tanky as them. But they're definitely more tanky than Aogiri, for example, but they do less damage than them. So that's how the CCG basically works. They're like basically in the middle of both teams, because Anteiku goes more into the full tankiness, and the Aogiri is going for full damage dealing capacity, and CCG is somewhere in between. In that sense, it's kind of interesting that they are the more so like the balanced ones, because they don't have like one specific thing that they're really, really good at. They're good in everything, because they're good in damage, they're good in survivability. All of that is about CCG. So in terms of Shinohara's potential as well, he's gonna go for, you don't really need to put red on him, because again, his damage is pretty low. You're not using him for the damage capacity, so because of that, you can definitely use the defense on him as well. So you could put the yellow ones for sure on him as well. For example, like don't put undermine, but you can put something that will help you survivability, like smash again. You can put the eliminate on him as well. There you can put some patent, maybe just for the filler ones. Again, there's nothing too crazy with the patent, it's not the best, but you can put that just for the sake of like having something decent on him. So that's how it usually gonna be looking, how the whole meta thing is gonna be looking like. Again, Red Arima does require to have at least one gut cell that you can get from the shop here. So if you go into the shop, there's a salvage shop here. This is the gut cell that you need for him. You want to have this gut cell because it's very good. The gain 5 stacks in the beginning of the battle is almost guaranteed a one shot on someone, because he's doing insane amount of damage with that 5 stacks whenever he has it. So because of that, that gut cell is really, really strong. So I do recommend you trying to get that one for him for sure if you're going to be playing CCG. Other than that, hopefully you liked the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comments, as well as tell me if you're going for the CCG team in the comments below. As well as you can join the Discord. I play Tokyo Ghoul on the streams as well. We stream every day. So if you want to tune in for the streams, you can join in Discord so you don't miss anything, because I post notifications there all the time before the stream starts, so you will not miss any videos or streams. Also, you can become a member right now if you want to support the content. You can become a member in the meantime. And also, hopefully you have a great day. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.